Last time on the channel, we took a look at the rage arts included in 2017's Tekken 7. Yes, 2017, not 2007. Sorry for the mistake there. With the launch of the latest title in the 30-year-long series, Tekken 8, let's celebrate with the new ranking with the heavily updated rage arts, which are going to be ranked from the worst to the best.
Fight!
Good morning.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Nick here, and welcome to or welcome back to the channel. Today, we're continuing our coverage on Tekken and looking at the latest entry, Tekken 8. This game brought back the rage art feature from the previous title, but heavily improved. Honestly, if I had to score the lowest one in this game, it would probably be a 7. Comparing these to the previous title is just unfair. There's just that much of a jump in quality with these rage arts. With 32 playable characters at launch, we will be ranking each of their rage arts from the worst to the best. Now, I am aware that there is a story mode exclusive rage art, but since the game had just come out and not everyone had finished the story mode yet, I do not want to spoil that awesome one in this video. It's just too great of a super that I want you to witness during your play session. As you know, these are going to be ranked based on the presentation, fit to the character, and just how awesome I think these are. These are just my opinions and my opinions alone. We're allowed to disagree, just let's not be mean about it in the comments below. With that, let's heat up, return to the King of the Iron Fist, and... as we rank all 32 of the rage arts from Tekken 8. Unfortunately, near the bottom spot once again is the White Angel of Death, Dragunov. It's pretty similar to his original one, but instead they updated it with a few more hits and an icy overhead punch. I do appreciate how the arena gets icy and how the screen freezes after the final hit, but in comparison to the rest of the roster, this one unfortunately is one of the weaker ones. It's cool, no pun intended, but not cool enough to get any higher on this list. Yet another character who didn't move much on the list despite the major rage art upgrade is the Bajiquan fighter, Leo Clesian. They added a little bit more fun to Leo's original art by adding a fun little segment where Leo uses Batman's grapple gun to swing around and hit the opponent. Like Tekken 7, the super ends with a heavy shoulder strike. At least the camera angles make it a little bit more fun in presentation. Still an okay super at the end of the day. The strongest in the universe, Paul Phoenix, makes his way at 30. Back in the last video, I criticized and said that his rage art was the worst in the entire game. Though the super is just another punch, they heavily improved it with some nice cinematics. I love the inclusion of his sleeve ripping off and the freeze frame when he says Usu. Though not a great one in comparison to the rest of the game, it's a good super that packs a punch. I really hate to put one of my favorite characters this low on the list, but number 29 goes to the protagonist of Tekken 8, Jin Kazama. This was the first rage art that we saw for this game, and it looked great in the reveal trailer. However, as time had passed and more characters were added to the game, this one is just fine. If you ask me, the build-up with the devil powers seems a bit underwhelming when he just strikes with a charge punch. I also noticed in the reveal trailer compared to the final game, the camera angles changes when he strikes them into the air. Still a cool in presentation, but it just loses it in the end. If you want to see another cool devil super, then stay tuned. Entering the 28th spot with the returning fighter, Lily. Looks like someone's been taking notes from Street Fighter 6's Manon by making the opponent dance with her with some pas de deux elements. Where the first parts are pretty unique and nice, I feel the flick at the end happens a little too fast, but I can say that this one is better than a rage art from Tekken 7, so good job there. Moving on to another one of my favorite characters from the franchise, Asuka Kazama. Although it's very similar to her rage art from Tekken 7, its presentation is loads better. She still does the bouquet right-handed version of her burning lantern attack, but her opening strings are different, making it feel a little bit different with some similar elements. I also think repeating the strike 3 times at the end helps make it better. The personality helps this super go way up than its previous go at it, so way to go, Asuka. Talk about a major update with number 26, the Irish silent assassin Nina Williams. As the commander of the G-Corp forces, she upgraded her rage art. No more blonde bombs as we trade them with bullets. She shoots their back several times after vaulting over them. She wraps it up by performing a double-handed strike to the opponent's chest, causing them to stumble backwards before their chest explodes with swirling rays of light. She wraps it up by saying, "Die in silence." It's cold and much better than her previous outing, but I feel it's just missing something. Still an awesome, but unlike the final strike, it doesn't take my breath away. Entering the top 25 with Panda's Close Call Panda Stormflower. She brings the playful charm back by spinning the opponent at great speed with all of her limbs before knocking them away with her front paws. You think the super would be over with her waving at the camera with the opponent landing, but they roll back to the opponent as she strikes them with a palm thrust. The ending doesn't have the greatest of impacts, but it's a solid rage art coming from the Pretty Protector. From Pretty Protector to the God Fist with Feng Wei. From being in the bottom 5 in T7 to moving up quite a bunch. His art sees him stun the opponent with a double palm thrust, then performing 2 alternating elbow strikes and a stomp launching them high into the air. He charges his ki and performs an upward palm strike on the falling opponent, blasting them upward and creating a large column of golden light. The pacing and framing of this one is just done so well, making each strike look great. Like the spirit, it does drag on a bit, but it's still effective. Maniacally laughing our way into 23 with Brian Fury. Total Vandalization sees him performing a Gatling Rush, looking like some punches right out of an anime. After hitting them with the left upper, it changes to his perspective with a cybernetic view. Really cool to see them implement some POV shots with him and his weird tech stuff that he has. He charges at them with a powerful Mock Breaker. The final blow just shows how much impact it has by sending them flying. It's a cool way to showcase the POV with the cybernetics. Guess you can say he got the much needed upgrade. We're entering the ring with the Wrestling Beast, King. Anger of the Beast sees the Wrestling Cat launch the opponent, then proceeding to catch them with a torture rack position. I love the way that he hypes up the crowd by roaring at the screen, jumps into the air, and ends with a submission, causing flames and fireworks to ignite. I just really love how much he hams it up with this one, with the arm flex, emphasis on the crowd, and more. Despite the lack of impact with the super, wrestling fans will get a huge kick out of King's super. Slicing our way into 21 with newcomer and Jetstream Sam wannabe, Victor Chevalier. With his knives, he performs 4 strikes, knocking them away, following it up with some admittedly long and awkwardly paced high-frequency blade charge-ups. He cuts it to a close by slicing the opponent, which then causes an explosion. I do like this one, but I would have tightened it up a little bit and instead would have had him do like a quick draw slice instead. Although this super had loads of potential to be cooler, I gotta admit this one is still pretty good and effective at what it does. Any way you slice it, sword supers are always cool with me. Making our way at number 20 with Ling Xiaoyu's with Wang Celestial Epic. She hits them with the stun, followed by a great shot of the camera pulling back to see her strike their torso as she circles around them, reminding me of some fun kung fu action scene from a movie. This art ends with a kick to the gut before she performs another powerful double-handed strike, knocking the opponent away, forcing them to spin through the air, which is a fun way to make it stand out. Though this is something many fighters could pull off, Zhao Yu's charm just makes it stand out much more. The 8th and probably the most over-designed character in the entire game, the high-tech Annihilator Jack 8 with Terraforming Cannon. It's cool to see him use his railgun for more than just flying into the ring. The Tekken team delivered a beam super that has so much force it sends both opponents flying away. Guaranteed this one got the attention of Fulgor with his Devastation Beam. Good effort on the Tekken team for making an awesome beam super with some amazing fun presentation to it. Taking aim at number 18 with Claudio. We've already seen him utilize his light arrow, but La Luce di Serio improves it. Instead of knocking them airborne and hitting them with a 3-peat hit, he strikes them upwards and manifests magic energy. As soon as they fall down, he catches them and shoots them with his light arrow point blank, sending them flying in the air. I love how much Claudio expands on his original art with some wonderful additions. Way to hit your target once again. Shaheen makes his return at number 17 with Najim Al-Shamal. He rides them around like a radical pro skater. He launches himself into the air along with the opponent. And I love how he ends this super with an Iron Galaxy Studio hidden gem, a dive kick, which he dives right through the opponent. Gotta hand it to them for the creativity of sliding them around and making the final hit have so much impact. Good job, Shaheen. Or should I say, Asanti. Hooking in at 16 with the UK boxer and my brother's favorite Tekken character, Steve Fox. He strikes with the right hook, then launches his opponent into the air with a left uppercut and knocks them back into the ground with a downward right hook. He follows it up with 5 quick alternating jabs, 4 hits of his endless roll, and then ends it with a powerful body blow upper, creating a shockwave, which looks a lot like Geese Howard's Rapukin. Each of these strikes looks super painful, and each of these can be easily seen even with how fast it's going. This just has loads of impact. What a knockout art you've got. Kicking and screaming at 15 with the most popular Bruce Lee inspired fighter, Martial Law. The legendary dragon pulls out 2 nunchakus and goes to town with a flurry of strikes, eventually knocking them on their back. He then faithfully recreates Bruce Lee's powerful stomp from Enter the Dragon. The impact and reference alone just stomps out the other rage arts before this one. Love the tribute, Law. We are kicking things up a notch, quite literally, with one of my favorite Tekken characters, Hwoarang. Looks like someone has been playing some Ken in Street Fighter V as he utilizes the kicks until he sends them airborne, flying with them. It does do a good job taking Hwoarang's staple, the kicking, and makes it extraordinary with the flying element, wrapping it up with a flashy and powerful heel drop, spiking them into the ground of the arena. Just like what Hwoarang is known for, this one kicks ass. Striking in at number 13 with the Lord of Drip and one of my girlfriend's favorite characters, Leroy Smith. His art, Dart Dragon Commandment, is a nice updated version of his previous art, hitting them with a barrage of Wing Chun punches, but follows it up by sweeping their legs, smashing them into the ground. As they try to get up, he does another awesome 1-inch punch, but this time a large phantom of a dragon flies and hits through the opponent. It's a cool way to update the original, still dropping some points for not including sugar in there somewhere. Overall, a solid and striking art from the Lord of Drip. Number 12 with one of Tekken 8's newcomers, the Peruvian with a knack for coffee, Azucena. With her rage arts presentation and loads of character, it makes it super fun to watch, even if the attacks aren't over the top or super powered like many other fighters we've seen. She strikes, and before they can recover, she zips like a Looney Tunes character and lays out a combo consisting of a hook, backhanded punch, and a jumping kick. She wraps it up with a cute little flick to their forehead, sending them backwards. A little fun fact, if you manage to KO with this super, she turns this into a short little advertisement for Azucena coffee. Is it just me, or are these advertisements getting out of hand? It's just full of so much charm and coffee. I just love it. If it weren't for the flashy ending when being KO'd, this wouldn't have been as high as up on the list. Well, welcome to Tekken, Azucena. We're happy to see you in the game. Making her grand return since Tekken 3 is Jin Kazama, mother of Jin and wife of Kazuya. Amatsu Azanami is something quite interesting we don't see often in Tekken games, the super taking you to another realm or place. After kicking the opponent, both are in a white plane of existence. She appears from the void and touches their chest. A massive aura blast then purifies the opponent. I like how they don't blast away like other explosive supers, but instead they just drop. It's not too often we see soul-impacting supers, but this is just a good job and a great way of presenting it. Yeah, good job, Jun. Your super has soul. We barely made it to the top 10 with the bear honoring his late father, Kuma. If you thought his rage art in Tekken 7 was unexpected with the salmon baseball bat, then hold on because you've seen nothing yet. It starts similar to his previous art, but as the salmon flops around in his paws, it Autobot assembles into a missile and flies at the opponent to make the body go boom. It's just so absurd and unexpected, but hey, we love it. It's an absolute blast. Speaking of blasts, we're looking at one of the legacy Tekken characters, Lee Chaolan. Though he has one of my least favorite designs in the game, he does make up for it with an awesome rage art. The Marvelous Rose sees him strike with 3 kicks, with a third launching them away, similar to his art from Tekken 7. Instead of throwing a rose that's a bomb, he throws a bomb resembling Combat and explodes with a nice rosy look to it. It's cute and extremely fitting to Lee. Guess you can say it's quite marvelous. Striking ahead like lightning at number 8 with Lars Alexanderson. Now this is a huge update from both of his arts from Tekken 7 as he turns into a friggin' Naruto character with this one. He turns into a ball of electricity, hitting the opponent several times before he charges his right hand with electricity, and then smashes the opponent into the ground, sliding out of the cloud of smoke and debris, and the opponent struck by lightning behind him, creating an explosion of light. I just love how well framed this one is, all the fun pacing, and I love the explosion at the end. Though I wish the final strike had a little bit more impact, this is still pretty epic, truly electrifying. Yet again, Zafina is in the top 10 with her second rage art. This plays off a lot like her previous one, but updated with the right amount of flashy elements to make it better. She strikes them with her cursed hand and transports them into a dark cave. The hand of Azazel comes out and grabs the opponent. As Zafina clenches her transformed hand into a fist, the giant hand does the same, catching the opponent in its grasp. She then wraps it up by creating a bright explosion. Truly an amazing and godlike super. Guess you can say you gotta hand it to her for this one once again. Just missing out on the top 5 with the baddie of Tekken 8, Kazuya Mishima. Talk about a major upgrade from game to game. Instead of doing a basic but weak beam super, Kazuya goes full devil mode on them, shooting a laser exploding them into the air to then fly up and smash them into the ground with an aerial double axe handle. Kazuya ends it by coming down with a powerful electrically charged diving axe kick which causes a large explosion. This super gets even better when you KO the opponent as he kicks them away and then taunts them. This is extremely character fitting and a great way to showcase Kazuya's might and devil powers. We are finally at the top 5 with the much needed upgrade for Elisa. I just love this one for the fit to the character and the absurd moments, along with the fun presentation. After uppercutting the opponent using her chainsaw, she flies upwards and knocks them back into the ground with a strike using both of her chainsaws. To wrap it up with an unexpected twist, her head detaches from her neck as her main body spins mid-air to kick it with force and send the opponent flying as her head explodes. Like Kuma, it goes in a direction you probably weren't expecting, but I think it nails it with the fit and presentation. Way to get ahead of many other rage arts before you. Our final devil character at number 4 with Devil Jin. Comparing this to Jin and Kazuya, this one just knocks it out of the park. Similar to what Zafina did, Jin strikes them and sends them to another realm where they're chained up with all this demonic energy surrounding them both. He then summons a giant demonic captain sword and strikes them, leading to a massive explosion, which then sends them back into the arena. It's just so awesome and a major upgrade over his T7, better than Jin and Devil Kazuya's supers. Congrats on making it into the top 5, you deserved it. Electric Wind God fisting their way, okay, that actually sounded much dirtier than I intended, is my favorite newcomer to Tekken 8, Reina. Starting with an upward palm strike, she follows it up with a kick and a backhanded knife hand strike before jumping to stomp them into the ground. Just before you think it's done, she summons them into another realm and finishes the job by striking them with an electrically charged knife hand strike, creating an explosion which also creates black aura with glowing red eyes. If you look at the explosion closely, you'll notice that it resembles that of the late Heihachi, which is a nice hint to her mysterious origins and gameplay. Overall, an amazing S-tier super move coming from one of the newcomers from Tekken 8. Heihachi would be proud. Our runner-up comes from the awesome ninja making his return after sitting out of the previous title, Raven. Not sure what it is with ninjas and awesome rage arts, but this one is just so friggin' good. After striking them, a magic symbol appears in the air above the opponent as Raven summons shadow clones from each of the 9 white spots of the symbol. The shadow clones rush at the opponent from multiple sides, striking them multiple times. Raven then pierces through the opponent with a kick that creates a cross-shaped burst. This puts almost every rage art to shame from both games and easily deserves this spot so high on the list, rightfully deserving the silver medal. But there's one more character who just slices in with a better art.
You will see this coming.
Slicing our way into number 1 with the Manji clan leader, Yoshimitsu. When I saw this in his gameplay debut trailer, I immediately knew this super was gonna rank high on my rage art list. He slides his finger across his blade and then has them reappear in a sepia-toned bamboo forest. Quickly slicing through numerous angles, he appears behind them with a green glow around his hand and strikes them from behind as their body flashes with a bright explosion. Another nice detail is that the explosion somewhat resembles blood, making this look a little bit more violent. This pays so much tribute to Kurosawa films, samurais, and feels something like only Yoshimitsu could do. It absolutely nails it with its crazy presentation and has some amazing pacing. Any way you slice it, this currently stands as the best rage art in all of Tekken 8. And there you have all 32 of the Tekken 8 rage arts ranked from the worst to the best. Which one stood out to you most and which one disappointed you the most? Share your picks down below and let's make a fun discussion about it. Also, let's continue that 3-string by liking, sharing the video, and subscribing to the channel. Your continuous support means so much and I can't thank you enough. I hope you're enjoying the time with the latest Tekken game. So far, it's pretty fun and I can't wait to do more content on this game. Next time on the channel, we're bringing back an old series that deserves a comeback. All costumes ranked. We'll be covering the Thunder God, Raiden, so come back soon for the return of this series. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nick, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Fight!